The heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. Here are your hosts, Jake Bakoven and Nathan Drennan.
This is the Ticket Water Cooler here live from the Mercato by Certified Piedmontese at 84th and Havelock. You're going to want to get down here, not just for obviously the great deals that they have, but Eric Strickland's going to join us live on location on the block here in about 45 minutes. But obviously there are other reasons to be down here other than come say hi to the Husker Hall of Famer. Special for today only. Buy one, get one free on all gelato and sorbetto. So that's obviously a good deal. You're going to want to get that. The Mercato is open 7 days a week, by the way, from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Cuts of meat like the Porterhouse, T-bone, boneless New York strip, filet mignon, tomahawk, cowboy ribeyes, and more. Also wanted to point this out because it's kind of a cool opportunity for tomorrow at the Mercato. Husker Autograph Series, April 30th tomorrow, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Kenzie Knuckles and Lexi Rodriguez of the volleyball squad jumping in here to sign some autographs for you. Of course, Kenzie Knuckles, part of Talking Trash of Ticket Weeknights. Lexi Rodriguez has her Ticket Weeknight show off and running with Off the Court. So very cool stuff all here at the Mercato. And we enjoy you to come and join us here. Nate is not joining us, but he is back in studio complaining like an old man about how times have changed. How's it going?
Right, Bach. Well, everyone that I was talking to on the last hour during the happy hour, they were all agreeing with me. So I'm interested to see what young man Bach has to say. Also, Bach, I want to make sure that we give a shout out to Good Sense. We here at the station, we got sandwiches. I want to give a shout out to Good Sense Pillar Restaurant. Provides our entire staff with subs. Great every time. Seriously, 5 locations throughout Lincoln. 5 locations. Amazing. I seriously do recommend. So if you haven't had lunch yet, or hey, dinner, hop on over to have some great sandwiches.
Yeah, it's never a bad idea to get some Good Sense. What's great, like you said today, once again, thanks to them for providing lunch. We'll jump into what you guys are talking about there at the end of the happy hour, which is basically NIL deals gone wild. We're kind of seeing today, especially frustration from Nate and from others, that Miami basketball star Isaiah Wong has threatened to enter the transfer portal if he doesn't get a bigger NIL deal. For what it's worth, Miami, this isn't out of nowhere. Miami's been kind of at the forefront of NIL. Nebraska likes to claim to be a part of that, and maybe we'll see if O'Shawn Mathis lands that deal and you get Nebraska, he can twist the Nebraska market and certainly put a little bit of proof in the pudding, right? Casey Thompson's there as well. It's pretty well getting some transfers in, but O'Shawn Mathis is top of the list type of guy, and clearly is working this NIL thing. So if Nebraska lands him, that'd be a big deal. But in any case, Miami has been doing very well. They got the twins out from the Fresno State volleyball unit or softball unit, and they've got like their players working with NIL agents. Which is apparently okay by the NCAA. You can hire an agent, I guess, for the NIL, not for pros. So a little bit of murky water here already. But Isaiah Wong to enter the transfer, let's get a bigger NIL deal. I think we'll see that more and more as time goes on. And some people are wrong way, right? I mean, you like to believe if you cheer for your team, that everyone on the team bleeds those colors. But that's not necessarily the case. We've seen that in pro sports as free agency. It's obviously been decades now, but free agency kind of opened the blind eyes as opposed to that. And so that's what we're seeing here. And I personally don't have too much problem with it. I do like. I'm like a lot of people like college football when I was growing up. So, maybe you can kind of stick to a year that you really like or a time period and say that's how it should always be. But this stuff is evolving. And so, while I might not completely love it compared to years past, I do think that it's good for the players. I think that it's, and you're going to see this sort of thing pop up, but I don't have a problem with anything that's going on. I think it's going to ultimately benefit Nebraska. Nebraska has a fan base, has a community that cares about their program more than a lot of different programs around the nation. So when you talk about the haves and the have-nots, Nebraska lands in the haves in this category, and I think you'll see that play out hopefully with O'Shawn Mathis tomorrow. Nate, what is bothering you about somebody looking out for themselves, getting, cashing in on opportunities like Isaiah Wong is trying to do?
Listen, I want to make myself very, very clear, and I said this in the last hour during the happy hour. I have no ill will towards the players whatsoever. This is not towards any of the players. This is towards the system. So I think these are adults that are to blame for this. The players are taking advantage of an opportunity that hasn't been given to them in years past. And if someone tells you that as a 19-year-old, you wouldn't have accepted $500,000 if someone offered it to you, you'd be lying to yourself. And I'd be lying to you too. Absolutely, you're going to take advantage of that. This is the issue that I have, Bach, and I want to make this very clear. So I'm going to read you the tweet exactly how it was tweeted by Jeff Marcello. A sign of the times. Miami's Isaiah Wong plans to enter the transfer portal this weekend if his NIL package, that's red flag one. This is not an NIL deal. This is not a sponsorship. This is not signing jerseys. This isn't working for your radio station. An NIL package. So this is some type of slush fund. This is some type of monetary fund that the school has provided and they're giving out to their players. This is not NIL. This is not what it was designed for. If that package is not improved, his agent told ESPN, you mentioned it earlier, Bach, how come guys can't hire an agent if they're going to go professional, but now all these 18, 19-year-old college athletes can have an agent? I don't think so. This is not.
The problem is that we're getting to the point that it's not amateur athletics. So billionaire John O'Reilly, who also will make a career. He also recognizes.
Oh, yeah. I don't know about that, but he's definitely a hot transfer. Yeah.
Okay, I'll be here. Again, NIL sign the jersey, organization, you're going someplace, tweeting out 50 or he is under contract, and he said that added, quote unquote, I do not renegotiate. I do not come. Here's my issue. I have no problem with these players with me. This is not what NIL is designed for. NIL is designed so the kids wouldn't be taken advantage of and they can make some money on the side. When you have a perfect example of the draft by position, when you have shirts that are being sold with their name, their picture, all of this, Big Ed, Michigan, when you're selling those shirts and those kids aren't getting any of that money, that is ridiculous. That is wrong. NIL is creates that. When kids have a YouTube page and YouTube is giving them money, that was considered illegal at the time. You're giving those kids an opportunity. Husker players, to come on this very station, you're giving them the opportunity to have a voice, to deal with their experiences, make a little bit of cash on the side, even all this thing. The problem with that in NIL is these kids are legitimately signing contracts, and they're making their decision not through the transfer portal. They're making their decision like free agents. And these are 18 and 19-year-old kids that at the end of the day are now devaluing the college education because people forget about this, all of this NIL. You're going to college for free. You're given every single opportunity to succeed on the field as well as in the classroom. But you have to do the around multiple times. 98% of student athletes do not play professionally. That's not a recommendation. That education is valuable. And then you want to know another statistic. 78% of professional athletes growth after 20 years of growth.
Well, thank God you made money when you didn't make it to the pros. I don't know if Nigel Pack's going to be a long-term NBA veteran. That's not the fault of the business. That's the fault of people not being well educated. I mean, he's not, but they all need to be better prepared for it, right? So it doesn't matter if it's in pro sports or you win the lottery. The lottery has the same type of deal. People that win the lottery, a lot of them go broke right afterwards because they don't know how to handle their money. That's not inherently a sports problem. That's people coming into a money problem. Nigel Pack, who is, like we said, Miami's on the forefront of this whole NIL thing. They got him to transfer to Kansas State because on part of this because he got a car and $800,000 to come to Miami. Now that's why the frustration is there from Isaiah Wong. He was there. He's like grandfathered into the old way where he didn't have to get this NIL deal to get here, but he took his team to the Elite Eight. So now he wants a little bit of that instead of having Nigel Packett it on. These other, like I said, the Cavalier twins from Fresno State play college basketball. UCLA football transfers, they've got a few of those guys in there. All working with this agent. Now, I agree with you. There's definitely murky waters signing with an agent for NIL deals as opposed to a pro sports deal. But that never necessarily made sense to me either. This cutoff from the NCAA, if you hire an agent, you can't come back and play college basketball or college football, whatever it is. I understand that it makes things legally a little bit more interesting, but how many of those guys have we seen go to the pros, get undrafted, and just because they signed an agent aren't able to say, oh, that was a mistake, I'm not ready, I better come back to school. So at the end of the day, I don't see a problem with this. I don't find it a coincidence that Miami, historically one of the bad boys of college football, has gotten this put together, and they're trying to push the boundaries on it. But I think ultimately, again, I don't know, a lot of these kids, especially when you start to talk about those other sports, women's college basketball or some of these other things, college education for one is nice, and that's been there for all these years. You've got to be, you got to get the right one to really cash in on that. So the fact that they are saving money on scholarship and stuff like that helps. But as you know, not all college athletes that are going to be able to take advantage of this NIL deal are getting a full scholarship to begin with. So, some of those at the fringe can certainly help themselves out. I know you're kind of more online with these few guys making a couple extra bucks here and there to help them out, YouTube pages, stuff like that. But there's always been the Johnny Manziels. There's always been the guys at the top that you go, man, that guy's worth millions of dollars right now to Texas A&M. And he's not able to make any money off of it. He gets in trouble for signing some cards. It's not amateur athletics. And that's... But it's been a joke, Nate, that this is not amateur athletics. This hasn't been for years. It's billions of dollars going to higher-ups instead of the kids working for it. So now, finally, these kids can cash in. Some of the money's being spread around, and it's not, I don't understand why people get frustrated. It's not like you, the fan, has to pay any more money. It's just that now these kids are getting compensated, and you know why? It's because they're special. That's not taking advantage. It's going to be the same situation as every taking advantage instead of people that are in their 20s that should be well educated enough to make financial decisions. The 19-year-old isn't live. Are you feeling bad for a 19-year-old making $800,000? You know how long with whatever, unless he's got a great college degree, most college degrees aren't going to get you $800,000, until you work for decades for it. I mean, I don't know how you're feeling bad for kids that are making big money off of this because they're. This is nothing to do with they're taking advantage of the law system. Absolutely. And I would do the same thing. But the problem is that these are adults that are allowing this to happen that are going to be the ones that end up actually, this John Ruiz, this billionaire agent, he's going to be the one that's taking advantage of these kids who's going to be paying and getting all this cash off. And when they go into the pros, when the 2% they go into the pros and actually make it, they're going to be like, oh, they make all this money in college. And then they end up taking it and they're building it as a professional athlete. They're going to grow just like a professional athlete. Nate, this is exactly why NIL matters more, not for the 2%, it's for the 98% that aren't going to have the chance to make this money eventually. They get this cash flow now because they deserve it. They're special. They make money for the university. And so, that I understand the. But it's an opportunity for them. And again, the problem that you see with people blowing their money, that's not inherently that's not inherently either a young person problem. That's you need to be able, they need to have classes. Don't get me wrong. And they've tried to start these in the NFL at the college level to get people to understand how to take in money. But again, this happens regardless of whether you win the lottery, sometimes with inheritance, whatever money that you come into. A lot of people don't know how to handle that sort of money. They get manipulated by people around them and they end up going bankrupt. But that's not a problem that's coming out of NIL or college athletes getting paid.
Absolutely not. I'm 23 years old right now. If you gave me $500,000, I would find a way to blow it too.
But that's my point, Nate.
Out of literally venting for real things. Like, this is going to be the issue of college athletics. Is that now you're going to have players that go to a school, and if they're not getting compensated, legitimately under contract, getting enough money, they're going to enter the transfer portal, quote unquote, and actually free agency, and you're going to get to go to another school. That's not amateur athletics whatsoever. And I have a serious problem with someone jumping from school to school every year just to go for another month, just to get more money. Just go to another organization.
Why do you have a problem with that? Normal kids can jump around from college to college if they want to. And why do you have a problem with people like, again, if you blow $500,000, that's on you. You have to learn how to use that money. That's not anybody's fault. It's a problem that happens with a lot of people. Don't get me wrong, but there's others that are going to get this money and it's going to be life changing, generation changing for them down the line because they're able to understand how to use that money. I'd rather, for what it's worth, I'd rather have $500,000 and blow through it than never have $500,000 to begin with. But that's.
There you go, you got it too.
I don't know what, based on what, that you don't want, I understand why people are getting frustrated with NIL or these opportunities. It's because you're not going to have Huskers that bleed Husker red for 4 years. I understand that frustration. But that's what I think that's what the public's more frustrated about, is that it's not the college sports that they grew up with, which again, I always liked that fact, right? As opposed to pro sports that you can connect a guy to a school and, you get 4 years out of him. But that's already kind of been wishy-washy in the past, 15 years, whatever. You've had transfers for long before that. But now it's going to open up even more. And yes, as a traditional college fan, that's going to change the dynamics. But I just don't see the problem with people shopping their image around, and even if it gets into numbers that you're uncomfortable with, it's pay for play. Yes.
They're legitimately just taking and they're giving to the players. That is not NIL. That was not what NIL was doing. I promise you. But there are adults that are taking advantage of the situation and are going to end up taking advantage of these kids. So it's going to be, give it 10, 15 years, so we're going to see the repercussions of allowing 18, 19, 20-year-olds to deal with this kind of pressure and this type of nonsense. And there's going to be serious repercussions. We're not going to know now. It's going to take a while to see how this actually plays out. There are going to be serious repercussions.
Well, there's going to be agents that take advantage of kids. There's agents that take advantage. Well, they already do that for pro athletes too. That's the big problem why a lot of these guys go bust from the begin with. And when they get to the pros, is because they sign a bad agent and there's somebody taking advantage of them at 22, 23 years old as opposed to 19 and 18 or whatever it is. If that's what you're worried about is the age, I just don't know how much more prepared you'll be to take in that money at 18 as opposed to 22. At least when you're 18 or 19, maybe you're closer, maybe you have an awareness of that you're not ready for that. Maybe you can, work with your parents or work with somebody that you trust. Now, there's
an 18-year-old kid is not going to go to $500,000. It's going to create more issues than it's going to make them. And so this is not going to be good.
For some of the wrong ones, for some of the kids that do have their head on their shoulders, then it'll be very life-changing for them.
It's going to be able to, like you said, have really change their life with something like this, because this is life changing. We also got to realize that this is really getting track place. This is a lot where the money's coming. Let's be honest. A lot of the NIL money, football, and college basketball. For most of those scholarship athletes, again, not all, they're in the partial scholarship. But for the basketball and football athletes, they're getting full rides. They're getting an education for free. They will walk out of school without a dime of debt. That is valuable. That is something that most people cannot say. If this is the problem we're doing with this, is we're devaluing that. We're just saying how much money can they jumping from school to school to school to school. It's not even about your education, and that's the problem, because 98% of those kids are not going to be professional athletes. You're going to have to rely on that education to go further on the way. And that's not what we're even focusing on.
But this is long. I mean, and you can want to focus on that stuff. We got to get to break here, but you can want to focus on that stuff. And back in the day, that would have been great. Like the college education part of it still covers, a lot of like the backup tight ends and all that. That's great, and it will still help them out. And I love that system is still available. But that money is nowhere near touching like what Nigel Pack got on the open market, $800,000. That's Nigel Pack. That's not, that's not the top player in the nation. That's just the top player in the transfer portal, or one of the top players in the transfer portal. Those guys, I mean, they are worth more than just a scholarship, and that's what it's proving. That's what it's showing.
Wherever, I don't know, the local bar, you should be able to get your jersey, if you're that good, your jersey should be able to go it's sold to whoever you want. You should absolutely get compensated. I'm with you 100%. You should not be signing multi-$100,000 contracts.
Well, I mean, the campuses have been building buildings off of what these guys have made. So this money's been there. It's just shifting to the player. And I think that's where a lot of people don't understand. Yes, there's going to be some repercussions and some agents and some stuff that you have to work out. But this money's already been floating around. Now it's just going to the kids who earned it, rather than just the suits who already have made a bunch of this money. We'll take a quick break. We're live from the Mercato at 84th and Havlik by Certified Piedmontese. We'll be right back here on the Ticket Water Cooler, brought to you by Colgan Water.
In college, it might be explosive play, 15 yards, whatever you deem as explosive play. The pros,
all of them are house.
All of them are. The guy will hit his head on the goalpost.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
You can search online for hours to find the best electricians in Lincoln and the surrounding area, but also give you time. High Electric has been serving their customers for 30 years for both residential and commercial properties. They're experts in everything electrical, from remodeling to new additions, hot tub installations, electric vehicle chargers or EV chargers, lighting, ceiling fans, and more. High Electric takes jobs from Beatrice to Omaha and all towns, big or small, in between. Call them today at 402-466-6606 or learn more at highelectric.com.
Early break with Sip and Jake.
And we're joined by Yoshi Hardrick, former Nebraska offensive lineman, currently a Winnipeg Blue Bomber of the CFL, two-time champion. What was it like going from the Big 12 to the Big 10, 1 year to the
Early break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning on 93.7 The Ticket.
You want to feel important. You want to be a part of something big, something that matters, and you have to make change. And let's do it even now. Right now. We thought that was too, and that's why we did something about it. We aren't just unintentional rights holders. We are now people just like you. For our part-time service in the unintentional guard, means we can keep doing that. And our communities are in need, we can discuss this and help them do something about it. We can talk about how to do things and help the people be on the first. Whether you're in the Examine California, Memphis, the ranges of Oklahoma and Texas, the mountains of Missouri and Arkansas, or the valleys of Louisiana, we are here for our hometown. Together, we can make a difference. With National Guard.com.
AFXL weather, sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning. Hello, I'm Charlie Stoneback with the latest news from Honda of Lincoln. Joining me now is the general manager, Andy Goodyear. Hey, Andy, how you doing? I'm doing great, Charlie. Hey, Andy, with spring right around the corner, how is your supply of new Hondas and pre-owned vehicles? Really good, Just remember, we have hundreds of new Hondas in the United States. But Honda continues to offer 0.9% APR compensation to qualified buyers. Plus, we have over 145 pre-owned vehicles in stock, ready for immediate delivery. That's great, Andy. Any more great news? There is, Charlie. Honda just announced financing from 0.99% APR certified pre-owned Hondas to qualified. So come experience the Honda Lincoln way of doing things. On your road or online at HondaLincoln.com.
Is that restaurant? Oh, that's a radio station. Oh, I bet that's neat.
This is the Tico Water Cooler here live from the Mercato by Certified Piedmontese at 84th and Havelock. We'll be out here until 6 o'clock, and we got a deal for you, special for today. Only buy one, get one free on all gelatos and sorbettos. So come on and join us out at the Mercato, which is open 7 days a week from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Get cuts of meat like the Porterhouse, the T-bone, boneless New York strip, filet mignon, tomahawk, cowboy, ribeyes, and more here at the Mercato. And again, I want to also remind you guys, if you can't make it out tonight, go ahead and make it out tomorrow, because Kenzie Knuckles and Lexi Rodriguez will be here as part of their Husker Autograph Series, signing autographs there from the volleyball team. We're coming off talking about the NIL deals, what it kind of means as things seem to be taking a next step, as Isaiah Wong, Miami basketball star, is threatened to enter the transfer portal if he doesn't get a bigger NIL deal. Of course, there's people, I think on one side of the fence or the other. There's not a whole lot of fence sitters on this topic. No, despite the fact that the NIL deal is literally all, NIL is all gray area right now. No.
A little bit longer. I want to make sure we get some of these texts. Text was obviously Very interesting, yeah, like you said, it's a very polarizing topic.
Mhm.
I think there is a great area for the podcast. I do think players should get paid. I'm all about NIL. So, I have my opinion of what the right way is. I know for. So Justy says normal kids aren't getting paid by the school to go to those schools. College athletics are basically turning to the Yankees, except they can pick any players they want now. Jim and Lincoln says the end result is the product of the field is going to suffer greatly. Coaches won't be able to game plan around the game, break the players for an extended period of time. Every year is going to be different. It was really hard to build off last year, but then the players are always changing schools. The long term is going to be bad for college football. I think there's something to be said. I want to touch on that block. We'll get into the rest of the time. Okay. Craig says we will see the repercussions of this in 5 years, not 10 to 15. Or could. I think we fixed the YouTube stuff. Ryan here, when I was 18 or 19, I was lucky to get $20 from my parents for my birthday. These days, people learn the value of the dollar.
Well, the value of the dollar keeps decreasing, so that's that's not helping. But you're not a special athlete, and that's the one distinction that always needs to be made. Me either. I didn't get a whole lot either, but I wasn't bringing in money for the university. I had to pay in to go to the university to get my degree. That's because you're not special again. Yeah, right.
Says always good to be silent when you're dealing with schools. Also, that's what we time to school. Shane says the kid wants the primary coach in the school and still working on the so he gives his primary coach football this option to catch out on that. There's nothing wrong with that. It's still not.
Love that text. That can you can have both the best of both worlds there for those that really want this to be about school, which it hasn't been for years now. But that's fine.
Yeah. I think I need to unmute my mic. I'm not even sure. We'll talk to Mark because Scott said that he can't hear me. Texter now just says there needs to be a governing agency that controls the NIL in general. I agree with that. And that's part of my issue too, is that there are no rules. I mean, that's why it's getting a little bit out of control, is because there's no one that is deciding that is making these decisions in the best interest of the players. I'm worried that what's going to happen with this is that, like I said, players are going to get taken advantage of, and this isn't going to be in the best interest of the players because, like you said, Bach, NIL, it's about the kids. I mean, these kids are a special talent. They're making money for the university. NIL should be created for them. The adults, the agents, all these guys that are making money off this, I think that's going to be part of the problem. But this is what I want to touch on, Bach, what Jim says. The end result of the product on the field is going to suffer greatly. It's going to be hard to build off of last year's momentum, and the players always changing schools. In the long term, it's going to be bad for college football. What do you think about that?
I think that is the primary concern for a lot of these people. If they've moved on past the education part and things being about what it was in their day, it's long past that, and it has been for a long time, which was why NIL needed to take place. But as far as, roster management, it's an absolute headache right now, and it's going to continue. It's going to get worse the more people see this thing. It is opening up free agency, basically, to college sports, right. And that is going to be frustrating. And you're seeing a lot of coaches, I know Sip points this out, especially across college basketball. Roy Williams, Coach K, Jay Wright, all these guys ducking out. And Roy Williams said it specifically because of this NIL type of stuff and roster management and the frustration that goes along with it. But guess what? Sorry, old timers. That's how it goes. There's going to be some people that can't handle this. They're going to have to get out of it, and it's going to be frustrating. These coaches have been making millions of dollars for years to handle that job. I know it's frustrating, but that's what the job is about now. And so while you're going to see some of the old timers and some of the classic, the guys that have benefited before being great coaches in the past before all this stuff duck out or not be able to handle it or not be able to adjust, there's going to be new coaches that rise up in a really great with this era. And that's the type of turnover you're going to see happen. So, it is, I like Jay Wright. I like Roy Williams. I like watching Coach K, one of the greatest of all time. But if you can't handle the heat, get out of the kitchen is what they say. And the kitchen's changed. And that's just, it's going to change what it means to be a college coach. what it means for roster management. I am, again, as a college sports fan, a little bit frustrated with that because it does become what free agency did to pro sports years back. You go back to the 70s, you always hear, your dad or your grandfather talk about how they could tell you the Royals lineup for 5 years, the whole lineup.
Right.
And that's changed. You can't do that anymore. And it might be somewhat similar in college sports. And it's going to be hard if especially at a smaller school, where if a guy rises, that he's not going to want to see what kind of money he can get out there. It's going to be completely different. But to me, instead of fighting it, I've learned over life that there is one sure thing in life, and that is change. And so try to embrace change as much as you'd like to fight against it. You somewhat embrace it. And again, that's what I'm going to have to do when the college football inevitably expands. I don't like that. I don't think it's good for the game. Other people will disagree with me there. But again, it's not built around you. It's going to be built around finally what's best for the athletes. And that includes shopping themselves around and making money.
Is that best for the athletes, though?
I think it's pretty darn good for them.
I don't know, Bach. There are as many successful stories that there are in the transfer portal. There's a lot of transfer portal stories that didn't go so well, that went terribly, and it's honestly sad that this happens to some of these kids. And I
disagree with that because when those scholarships, there's still a scholarship limit. Those if you don't do your homework, again, it's about your diligence, and you can say they're 18, 19-year-old kids. If you're a 19-year-old kid that's on the third string, Latrell Neville. If you're Latrell Neville right now, and you think you're just going to go out in the transfer portal and get all these offers from Texas and Alabama like it was when you were a high school kid,
you're right.
It's not going to happen that way anymore. You got to do your homework before jumping in there. There is a statistic out there. I don't know what it is. Like 35% of the transfer portal kids aren't getting offers. But those scholarships don't go into the ether. Those scholarships are now moved from players that didn't live up to the hype and didn't do their homework enough to stay at their school and take advantage of that scholarship, or some of those kids are forced out basically by their head coach and stuff like that, or requested to leave. So, in that way you feel bad for them. But those scholarships don't go in the ether. They go to kids with more upside, more opportunity. And so you don't have kids sitting around the roster for 4 years that got the scholarship because they deserved it coming out of high school, but haven't deserved it since then.
I see what you're saying though, Bach, but I think there's also something to be said that a lot of these kids, and I won't even say a lot, there's some. I mean, we've seen it. You can watch Last Chance U is a good example, QB1. I mean, shows like this of kids that have serious talent, and you just have the wrong people in your corner. And it's sad because there are going to be college kids in situations where someone in your corner is telling you, okay, you need to move on. You can get a better opportunity elsewhere. And then you lose a scholarship, and then you lose your education. And then where do you go with that? And I'm not saying that's every situation. And there are examples in the transfer portal that have worked really well for kids, and it's a really great thing. My issue isn't so much the transfer portal. It's that we're creating a free agency for these college athletes, and there are going to be situations where it's not going to work out. There are going to be situations where these kids are just left in the dust and are going to be forgotten. And I really do feel bad for those kids because I don't think that that's what college athletics are supposed to be. And I think that that's not what the transfer portal was created for. It wasn't created to be like a free agency. It was supposed to give kids that aren't getting their opportunity a chance to get that opportunity. And I don't think that's what it's becoming.
Well, either way, regardless of what side you kind of sit on here, we at least know this. Yoga Man texts in, America's future is in great hands because young men like you can have such a profound conversation. Job well done. Proud of you, young man. See, so at least we're doing something right.
We are doing something right. And you know what, Bach? Even though I don't agree with you and probably never will, I respect your opinion and I appreciate the conversation.
There you go. That is the most important thing, is respecting somebody's differing opinion. Surprise, not everybody agrees on everything. We'll take a quick break out here from the Mercato by Certified Piedmontese. Come on out to 84th and Havelock. Guess what? Strick is in the building. He is here. So come on down to 84th and Havelock, the Mercato by Certified Piedmontese. On the Block will be coming up next, but we'll wrap things up here with the Ticket Water Cooler after these short messages.
Jake Bachman here. Let me tell you about my friends at Solarion. I've been working with them as a participant in their clinical trials for many years. They help develop new pharmaceutical products, and I get to be a part of it. All I do is check the website for possible studies that might apply to me, see if they fit into my schedule, and if I'm eligible for participation within the parameters laid out, I can make up to $500 per day in a study, and feel confident in the staff and research done by Solarion to be a willing participant. Last year, more than 800 people completed a study in Lincoln, and I was one of them, and will continue to be. If you're curious about how to earn up to $500 per day by participating in a research study at Solarion, and with the several options for scheduling, check them out at helpresearch.com/new or call them at 866-213-2965. Once again, that's Solarion at 866-213-2965 or at helpresearch.com/new.
You want to feel important. You want to be a part of something bigger, something that matters and can help change things. You want to feel like you belong. We know. We felt that way too, and that's why we did something about it. We aren't just Army National Guard soldiers. We are normal people just like you. But our part-time service in the Army National Guard means we get to be more. When our communities are in need, we get the chance to stand up and do something about it. We get to serve in our own region and help the people we call neighbors. Whether they are in the mountains of New Mexico, the plains of Nebraska and Kansas, the ranches of Oklahoma and Texas, the farmlands of Missouri and Arkansas, or the bayous of Louisiana, we are here for our hometowns. And together, we can make a difference. Take on your legacy. Visit NationalGuard.com to find out more.
Sponsored by the Nebraska Army National Guard. Aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association at this station.
Southeast Community College has learning centers in Falls City, Hebron, Nebraska City, Plattsmouth, Wahoo, and York so that you can take credit and non-credit classes at a center nearby without having to travel an hour or more to campus. By taking online classes and those at a learning center, you can earn your degree from SCC where and when it's convenient for you, all at a cost that won't stand in the way of your education. Learn more about SCC's learning centers at southeast.edu/learning centers. SCC, your path to possible.
Find great deals now on new Rams, Jeeps, and more during Ram Truck Month and the Jeep Celebration event at Baxter Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Shop our entire inventory of new and certified pre-owned vehicles anytime.
At Baxter, we put you in the driver's seat.
Early break with Sip and Jake.
Again, we're joined by Yoshi Hardrick, former Nebraska offensive lineman, currently a Winnipeg Blue Bomber of the CFL, two-time champion. What was it like going from the Big 12 to the Big 10 one year to the next?
Well, my first defensive end was 280 to 300 pounds. And every team we played had two tight ends in.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, we're about to play some football.
Early break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning on 93.7 The Ticket.
There's nothing quite like the Mercato by Certified Piedmontese beef. The Mercato offers unique ingredients you can't find anywhere else, open every day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The full-service butcher shop and retail store is wonderful for meat lovers with their exclusive certified Piedmontese beef and assorted sausages, plus other quality meats, including pork, chicken, and a wide range of the freshest seafood. Plus, every Friday from 11 to 2, the Mercato serves up the best lunch in town on their Friday Feast menu. Stop in at the Mercato today at 84th and Havelock or visit their website at cpmercado.com to see current deals.
At first, I was really nervous and intimidated to buy a ring. I wasn't sure what I was getting into.
My experience at Starter Heyman was very easy. I felt like I walked out of Starter Heyman with the ring that was going to make her go wow and say yes.
I love my ring. It is so beautiful.
I absolutely love my ring. I get compliments on it all the time. I always tell them Starter Heyman.
Yeah, we would definitely recommend Starter Heyman.
Yeah, it was great.
We're definitely coming back.
Sure.
Sauter Heyman Jewelers, Lincoln and Grand Island. SauterHeyman.com.
Nutrient Ag Solutions, Ashland facility, now hiring for spring. Keith and the crew remind that most will have to have blood available at some point to survive, but our blood supply is extremely low. Please consider donating a unit of blood. Next Tuesday, there's a drive at Ashland Greenwood High School from 11 a.m. till 5 p.m. Monday, May 16th, go to Water's Edge, Gretna. And don't forget, for great job opportunities, contact Nutrient Ag Solutions in Ashland. Join the Nutrient Ag Solutions team. Call 402-944-2436.
The Home Builders Association of Lincoln and Bombers Garage are proud to sponsor this year's Cruisin' for the Trades car show on May 1st. It's the first major car show of the season, and they have 20 plus big trophies for muscle cars, old cars, classics, trucks and bikes, EVs, and anything in between. Register your car today at hbal.org and enter into as many categories as you wish for the show at SCC's campus at 88th and O. Proceeds from the event go to the Lincoln Home Builders Care Foundation to support careers in construction. Register today at hbal.org.
Hey, sports fans. Rico here with HIS Auto Care 70th and Van Dorn. Carfax recently awarded us as a top-rated auto service center for 2020, and Lincoln Choice Awards voted us as the 2021 top independent auto repair center. Call us at 402-488-8934 for superior service bumper to bumper. Mention this ad and get 7% off. Doesn't get any better than that. Rico for his auto care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
Back to the Ticket Water Cooler. Brought to you by Culligan of Lincoln on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Wrapping up things here on the Ticket Water Cooler. We're live from the Mercato by Certified Piedmontese at 84th and Havelock. My buddy Eric Strickland has stopped by. He'll be here for On the Block as we do the show out here for the next 2 hours. So come on down. You can say hi to him, maybe get an autograph, take a picture. And they've actually got more of that coming tomorrow, too. The Husker Autograph Series continues for the Mercato by Certified Piedmontese tomorrow from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Kenzie Knuckles and Lexi Rodriguez of the Husker volleyball team will be out here. Of course, we're proud with Kenzie Knuckles and Lexi Rodriguez here at the Ticket because on Ticket Weeknights, they each have a program that they do. Kenzie Knuckles is on Talkin' Trash and Lexi Rodriguez is on Off the Court. So that has been phenomenal so far. So your chance to go ahead and come out and get autograph from current Huskers and former Huskers here in today and tomorrow here at the Mercato by Certified Piedmontese. We've been talking all about NIL opportunities and kind of what is becoming of the portal and kind of everything that's going on. I think a good point pointed out off the text line, as we've been kind of saying, it seems like it's kind of opening up free agency in sports. Certainly Isaiah Wong from Miami kind of is in that category. Yeah. But good points off the text line that you can only transfer once as far as without having to sit out a year. So they opened that up a couple, I think last year or 2 years ago to make that official. So at least it won't be every year that you're transferring to the highest bidder at this point, unless
the thing about that, Bach, though, is that there's going to be someone to say, okay, that's what we're going to make the situation, because a lot of these top schools are getting these guys in their second transfer and they're saying they're waiving it. So someone needs to be the one to stand up and say, I don't care if you're going to Alabama, I don't care if you're going to Oklahoma, I don't care if you're going to Clemson, like you will sit your 2 years, because there are plenty of examples that you can look at where they're not making them sit that extra year because they are going to these top programs and money talks. So at the end of the day, I mean, it's money talks.
Yeah, it does. And the NCAA ultimately has the ruling on that, and it's hard to tell who's in charge or how much the NCAA is doing these days either. So that's kind of a problem.
Their own mess.
We will have to remind you, too, though, as far as all this is going out. And like we said, Nebraska wants to be on the forefront of this NIL, kind of putting packages together. It looks like Miami is at least ahead of everybody, ahead of the pack right now.
They know what they're doing. For better or for worse, they know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, they've been putting things together. Do you want to see Nebraska do this? Even if you disagree with it, wouldn't you agree with if that's how it's going to play out? You know, it's like business. You know, there's some shortcuts that maybe ethically you might not want to take, but if all your competition is doing it, you might have to do it as well. So we'll see if Nebraska jumps in on it again. If they land O'Shawn Mathis, I might think that's more NIL talking than anything.
Look, Buck, I am
he's got up there.
100% with you. This has nothing to do with the players whatsoever. They're taking advantage of what's being put in front of them. I would do the same exact thing. And you're entirely right. If other schools are going to play this way, Nebraska is going to have to do the same thing. It's a slippery slope. Who knows how far it goes, but absolutely, Nebraska should be 100% on top of this and doing the same thing that the other schools are doing.
Yeah, and again, tomorrow, the announcement, I think, is at 3. That's probably Texas time, which I'm not sure. I have to look it up. But tomorrow afternoon, O'Shawn Mathis will make his choice between Nebraska and Texas.
Go Big Red!
And go Big Red. A lot of people are leaning toward Nebraska here. I heard Sip
I think so, too. I think he's coming to Nebraska.
The more you see it, the more you kind of think that he will. And honestly, it is because of the NIL package. I think that's why.
Not only that, too, another reason to think Nebraska, and we talked to, I know that we have to get out of here too, Buck, so I'll go ahead and start playing the wrap-up music. Another thing that Brian Munson said, and he made a good point, as a kid from Texas, why would you make this such a long process if you were just going to stay at Texas? Why keep this process going days, weeks, if you were ultimately just going to stay at home? I don't know. Something to think about.
It's interesting. Some people are rubbed the wrong way by O'Shawn Mathis because of what he's done. But either way, if he comes to Nebraska, I think you should become a fan of him.
Yeah, I'll definitely become a fan, as will everyone else, when he gets 10 sacks this season.
Yeah, he's a good marketer. There's nothing to blame him there. He's taking advantage of the opportunity. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back here with On the Block, live from Mercato, next here on 93.7 The Ticket.
Happy Hour with Nick Sainert and Enrique Alvarez Clary.